Dear children, I wish you a very happy new year. I'm sure your vacation must have been fun filled and you have had good times with your families. Well, children, it's time to resume the last innings, the last lap of academic year 2021, and we are left with only one lesson. So you can give a pat on your back. You've done extremely well. We have sailed across an year which had a pandemic. True? Well, has the pandemic ended? No. We have carried it along to 2021. However, if you look at the negative side of things, you will see that this pandemic has affected economies. It has taken away jobs from people. There have been monetary and financial losses in businesses. And while we take an opportunity to salute the COVID warriors. Who are COVID warriors, children? The people who had the disease or who acquired the disease and are now well. They are called COVID warriors. However, while we remember and salute the COVID warriors, there are many more who succumbed and left for their heavenly abode. Now, children, this is what you will see if you look at the negative side of things. But if you look at the positive side of things, well, it has taught us to be strong, and it has shown us that come what may, if you have a will, there is a way. Did you ever imagine that this entire academic year would be conducted online? Did you ever have a prediction for this? No. So that is how life is, children. It's full of uncertainties. The moment you wish life to be normal, the fun is gone. Life should always be full of challenges and unprecedented risk. Unprecedented risks. Unprecedented means something which you have not come across before. So while we continue our fantabulous journey of literature, we left with one more last lesson. Now, children, as you can see, on top of my head, you see, there's a plant. It's a money plant. And this is my study room. Money plant. Well, children, that's the only greenery which I have around. Very unfortunate. Previously, we used to live in forests, cavemen. We have evolved in such a way that we have started destroying nature. What's this pandemic all about? Well, children, it's nothing. It's a man-made virus. Look at how many people have fallen victim to a virus which is negligible in size. Unfortunately, it's not a disaster. It's not a natural disaster. It's man wiping out man. Wow, what do I say? There was a poem by William Wordsworth in which he wrote a line. Okay, he wrote a line which has a lot of meaning with whatever is going on today. He said, "It pains the heart." William Wordsworth, one of the most famous poems, or one of the most famous poets that we have had in history. It pains the heart to see what man has made of man. Children, let's give it a thought. Okay? It's like we are continuously fighting for power and supremacy among ourselves. Should we do that with our brothers and sisters? Well, who would understand? Who would make people understand? When you grow up, maybe it will be your turn to make the world understand, to have peace and love. Now, in the battle for supremacy, man started battling or fighting. Man started war against nature. You have always come across this word, Mother Nature. We have always illustrated nature as mother. We have always termed it as mother. Now, would you go ahead and destroy your own mother? That's thankless attitude then. But man has been doing it. The reason I showed you this plant is because we don't have any greenery around anymore. We have concrete structures. We are living in a concrete jungle. Look around while you are hearing me, while you are listening to me in this particular video. Look around yourself and see how many buildings have come up. Well, children, when your parents were kids, okay, some of them still have those houses back there in the villages. Well, it was more of greenery and lesser concrete, but now it's the opposite. Okay, now once you do that, you are playing with the groundwater level. What's the groundwater level? Now, I don't know if you have a hand pump. I do have it in my house. You see, it's called a tube well. Previously, in villages, people used to draw water by the piston. Okay, it's like a piston. You press it, water falls. You don't have it anymore nowadays because it's all about ceramic tiles and advanced bathrooms. So now that do you know where the water comes from? So while you press it, water falls, right? Where does the water come from? It's basically the groundwater. Now, if you bring up more buildings, so you are digging into the soil, right, to make the foundation for the buildings. In that way, the groundwater level goes down. It will be difficult for you to get water, right? And seriously, there is a scarcity of natural resources. You know it very well. I'm sure you must have come across it somewhere in SST. Okay, so now it's an alarming situation, children. It's an alarming situation. Trees are gifts from nature, and we ought to preserve them and conserve them. But due to deforestation, well, there are a lot of natural calamities which have been wreaking havoc on human lives and properties. For example, you talk about any natural calamity that you can think of: tsunami, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, cyclones. Do you remember cyclone Amphan? It happened, right? Just at the time when we heard about the pandemic, just before the pandemic. Well, there was a lot of destruction near my house due to Amphan. It was a cyclone. Do you know why cyclones occur? Or do you know why thunderstorms occur? Heavy rains. It happens because we have been playing with Mother Nature. So do your part to conserve Mother Nature. Even a small initiative will be very helpful here. Now, this lesson that we'll be dealing with is your last lesson in your book, and talks about natural calamities. It talks about rains. Now, we all know that rains are very beneficial. We have the monsoon season, which is very beneficial for farmers. For example, if you wish to cultivate rice, right? It's a staple food in India. Now you need a lot of water to cultivate rice. So monsoons are very important because it's a boon. Boon, what's the meaning of boon? It means blessing for our farmer brothers who toil very hard for the produce. Now, what happens if we have rain in excess? Floods. There'll be floods, soil erosion, and that will lead to some phenomena like landslides and avalanches. What are avalanches? For the people who belong from the hill stations, they would know about this word. Whenever you travel in hill stations, you'll see boulders coming down from the cliffs. Suddenly, all of a sudden. Now this phenomena is called avalanches. And then you have got landslides. Okay. Now these happen because we don't have those roots of the trees to hold the soil firmly. And that's the reason the soil flows like water. Okay. And when we have heavy rains, We have floods. What happens in floods? Houses are washed away. You will see, did you just see in the video cars drifting across? Okay. So just imagine the power of water. It takes away cars and buildings away with it. But imagine such a situation. How ridiculous would that be? In case if you have to spend your night under a barn on the streets, if your house is washed away. But it happens every year. So we ought to be a little careful. Shantini Govindan is the name of your author here. Well, it's not a poem actually, but it's only a documentary of a page. So if you read across, it's very easy. So the poet asks or requests rain to be a little merciful. Otherwise, the entire effort goes in vain. What effort? Well, agriculture, right? In case if you are building a property, that goes for a toss. So she's been asking rain gods, she's been requesting rain gods to be a little merciful. That's the main theme that's the central idea of this poem. And she's been talking about the damages which may happen in case if you have excessive rainfall, like how we witnessed in Chennai a few days back. Chennai and South India receives retreating monsoon. Now when you grow up, you'll study this word in geography or SST. It's like when monsoon finally bids adieu, farewell to India. It enters from the north and it leaves to the southern part. So Chennai and South India gets monsoon or gets rainfall, heavy rainfall during this November and December, okay, bracket. So that is how things are. Now you have seen the video of the disaster that can be brought forth in case if you have excessive rain. So that's the main central idea of the poem or the story, whatever you may call it. Let me tell you about Shantini Govindan. Well, she is a very pragmatic writer. What's the meaning of pragmatic? Pragmatic means practical, okay? She doesn't write something, which is out of the box. Her concepts are very straightforward and they are based on life, human life, and the miseries that we all go through. And that's the reason whenever she talks to children, she leaves a very deep-rooted message in the young minds. On that note, children, please enjoy this lesson, okay? And I'll see you in the online session, and then we'll discuss this lesson forward. Until then, wish you a very happy new year again. Take care. God bless.